All right, wizards, come in close. I need to talk to you on this one. Whoa, 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 whoa. Slow your roll, Merlin. Not that close. I can practically taste the Mountain Dew on your breath. Remember, personal space, please. There you go. That's perfect. What's up, adventurers? Today, I'm finally circling back to Project Sigil. And if you saw the title, you know it's not good news. Or if you're one of the original skeptics, I guess it's hilarious, tragically hilarious at that, because Wizards of the Coast has officially canceled Project Sigil just mere weeks after the public version went live. Yes, weeks, not months, weeks. On March 18th, Wizards laid off 30 employees, roughly 90% of the Sigil team, leaving behind a skeleton crew to salvage what's left. The big dream reduced to a glorified bonus feature for Master Tier D&D Beyond subscribers. If this was a car, I want a refund. A leaked internal memo confirmed that Sigil failed as the ambitious standalone game they envisioned, primarily because, surprise, Hasbro didn't understand what the heck they were making. Apparently, Hasbro expected Sigil to spontaneously generate mountains of cash, like Magic the Gathering or Baldur's Gate 3, just by existing. When that didn't magically happen, they promptly yeeted out of existence like a coldless corporation that Hasbro, their parent company, really is. An anonymous employee described the entire Sigil fiasco as less of a natural death and more of a straight-up murder, citing internal chaos, lack of leadership, and constant goalpost shifting as the main culprits. The same employee shared that corporate higher-ups viewed Sigil like a standard video game rather than a VTT platform. You know, because rolling dice and moving miniatures is basically Fortnite, right? The writing was on the wall after that infamous Gen Con 2024 tech demo. You remember, the one that had Abria Iyengar, Brennan Lee Mulligan, and Baldur's Gate 3 cast members, Neil Newbin and Samantha Bayart. Yeah, it bombed harder than a barbarian rolling nat ones all night. And after that, Hasbro president Chris Cox jumped in, reportedly very unsupportive of continued development. And we all know, when the corporate overlords appear, it's never to deliver good news. The kicker? Hasbro reportedly poured 20 to 30 million into Sigil, only to quietly pull the plug. To put it in perspective, that's a lot of healing potions, folks. Now, their brave engineers remained tasked with quietly shuffling Sigil's corpse into D&D Beyond's already popular VTT. So, that's the sad news. But let's shift gears and talk about what Project Sigil could and probably should have been. I won't dwell on reviewing its final state because, let's face it, not much has changed since my first video. Sure, there are a few new maps and assets, but it's still just a shadow shell of what it could have been, and listen, any feedback that I have, they're certainly not going to listen when the platform is now dead. Project Sigil, in my humble opinion, tried way too hard to do everything. They aimed to be your one-stop shop for every D&D need imaginable, trying and failing, cramming all these systems into a single place, leaving it cramped and hollow. A rogue of all trades, a wizard of none. Okay, maybe that pun did sound better in my head, but I'm leaving it in the video because that's why you watch, for my personality. Sigil should have just been a 3D version of Roll20 in my opinion, a straightforward virtual tabletop in 3D. Replace Roll20's flat tokens with immersive 3D miniatures, pop-up NPC stat cards, and integrated D&D Beyond character sheets in browser tabs. I think that's, most of all, what people wanted. And speaking of browser tabs, now's a great time to remind you to open one and head on over to my Patreon for bonus content or subscribe to my YouTube membership for cool emojis and perks. Wait. That was the wrong script. Shoot. What I meant to say was, speaking of browser tabs, Project Sigil should have been browser-based, forcing people to download a heavy program that requires a beefy computer running Unreal Engine 5, 4, 5? Someone correct me in the comments below. It was a huge oversight. I mean, I'm barely managing this teleprompter, so don't ask me how to make it browser-friendly, but it should have been. And making it download only alienated at least half of the D&D community. Imagine using 3D environments on a physical display for in-person gaming. Perfect, right? But no, you can't do that with Sigil, especially without dual screen support. And virtual groups? Now everyone needs a high-end gaming rig. Good luck with that, because my players can't even get their webcams to reliably work, and there's always that one player with a clacky keyboard and no one can concentrate on my BBEG monologue. I'm not calling out anybody specifically, but you know who you are. And let's briefly talk about monetization. Look, I get it, but people need to get paid. Tragically, most of that money does end up in corporate pockets, but hey, artists need avocado toast too. Or was it bootstraps to pick themselves up by? I'm not quite sure. Project Sigil could have sold optional 3D maps for every official adventure at an affordable upgrade price, rewarding those who wanted to go the extra mile without punishing everybody else. Did you just buy Vecna Eve of Ruin and you want to play in Project Sigil? Maybe only $10 more gets you all the virtual maps and exclusive NPCs that are found in the book. I would murder hobo so hard right now for that. Ditching in-program map making for a community marketplace would have been ideal too. Artists earn money, Wizards gets a cut, and players get amazing content without feeling gouged. But alas, they didn't ask me, and now Project Sigil is a husk hidden so deep in a dungeon that not even Master Tier subscribers like me will explore. Put your Eldritch Blast and Dancing Lights away. Will be time for that later. We won't need it for this one. I had high hopes, but it seems it's back to rolling dice the old-fashioned way. Until next time, my friends, keep rolling those dice, and may your quests always be epic.